Taxing the Poor, Ethiopia's latest economic blunder by Kebour Ghenna. You've got to admire the Ethiopian government. Even in the worst of times, it never runs out of creative ideas for how to squeeze a little more blood from the turnip. Take the latest reform to the income tax law. It sounds innocent enough, a few adjustments to the tax brackets, but under the shiny wrapping is the same old trick: rob the poor to balance the books. Here's the update. Under the new tax schedule, anyone earning 2,000 birr or less per month is spared. Those pulling in less than 4,000 birr pay 15%. If you make less than 7,000 birr, that's 20%, and so on. Sounds fair? Maybe, until you realize that at today's exchange rate, even someone earning 8,000 birr a month, a sum still taxable, is making barely $2 a day. That's the UN poverty line, folks. Yes, the government of Ethiopia, fresh from its budget meetings with the IMF and World Bank, now wants to tax its poorest citizens, those barely able to buy cooking oil or bus fare. They say it's necessary, that the government can't balance its books otherwise, that this tax burden is essential for growth. But that's utter nonsense, the kind peddled by accounting wizards who've never met a market or a hungry child. Let's be clear about one thing. When the government taxes the poorest, it doesn't collect from savers or speculators. It collects from people who spend everything they earn, not on vacations or luxury goods, but on food, rent, school fees, and the occasional trip to the clinic. These expenditures don't disappear into a black hole. They go right back into the economy. They pay the shopkeeper, the minibus driver, the farmer, the tailor, and yes, they pay taxes again in the form of VAT. The money circulates, it creates jobs, it supports local businesses, it stimulates demand, that thing economists pretend to care about, and it even raises tax revenue indirectly. So why take that money away? Because neoliberal myth makers, the budget balancers, and austerity disciples have convinced governments that taxing the poor is fiscal responsibility. That the only way to be taken seriously in Washington or Paris is to look serious while holding the poor upside down and shaking them for loose change. But taxing those who have no cushion, no margin, no savings is not responsible. It's reckless. And it's bad economics. If you want to grow the economy, you let the poor breathe. You raise the tax threshold to reflect a livable income, not one anchored in 1994. You cut taxes on wages under 8,000 birr and maybe even subsidize essentials for those living under $2 a day. You tax where the money is. You go after monopolies. You curb unnecessary perks for top officials. You plug the billion birr leakages in procurement. You make the richest pay their fair share. And while you're at it, you create a coherent, productive investment plan, one that actually supports exports, manufacturing, and jobs. That helps bring down inflation not by strangling demand, but by boosting local supply and reducing import dependence. There are always alternatives. The decision to suppress income, to tax the bottom while coddling the top, is a political choice, not an economic necessity. So the next time someone says Ethiopia needs to tighten its belt or balance the budget, ask them why the burden always falls on the smallest shoulders. Because the real task isn't to squeeze more tax from the poor, it's to broaden the economic pie. That means investing in people, in productivity, and in policies that allow the lowest earners to spend, grow, and thrive. If we want a bigger future, we have to start by feeding the parts of the economy that are still hungry.